All right. I think I'm live. Let me see. I'm using OBS for the first time. So let me check and see if I'm live in the group. There I am. Boom. So we go live in the group. Everything looks good to go. All right. Sweet. So today I'm going to be doing Genesis 27, 28, and 29. Now mind you, there we go. Bam. And we go boom. Bam. All right. So it looks good. Cool. This way I can read it on the screen and look at you guys. I have the chat over here so I can interact. Good to go. So cool. Today we're going to be doing Genesis 27, 28, and 29. I accidentally read Genesis 27 yesterday. I might even read 28, but I got sort of into everything. But anyway, we're going to read it again so we stay on track here. Or I might double it up. I might just double up the amount of it. I'm supposed to also Where's my other screen real quick? If we wanted to double it, we'd go 27 to 32. So 5. Or I could cut off also today. I don't know. We'll just read again. So anyway, I really found this passage interesting yesterday, just because there's so what's up with so much deceit? You know what I mean? That was I couldn't believe um the stuff that was going on with Rebecca and Esau. I looked up these words, how to pronounce them, so these names, especially since they're going to be in here a lot. But anyway, let me jump into it. So today, it's Genesis 27. Now it came to pass when Isaac was old and his eyes were so dim that he could not see, that he called Esau, I'm sorry, his older son, and said to him, "My son." And he answered him, "Here I am." Then he said to him, "Behold now, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Therefore, please take your weapons and your quiver, your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and make me savory food such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die." Now Rebecca, and I was messing this up. I wasn't as Brabeck before. I was really butchering this name. Now Rebecca was listening when Isaac spoke to Esau, his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt game and to bring it. Now this is what just blows my mind. Now I know Rebecca loves her younger son Jacob and everything, but this just blows my mind. So Rebecca spoke to Jacob, saying, "Indeed, I heard your father say to Esau, your brother, I heard your father speak to Esau, your brother, saying, 'Bring me game and make savory food for me, that I may eat it and bless you in the presence of the Lord before death.'" Let me scroll this up there. Therefore, my son, obey my voice according to what I command you. Go now to the flock and bring me from there 2 choice kids of the goats, and I may make savory food for them for your father, such as he loves. Then you shall take it to your father that he may eat it, and that he may bless you before his death. And then Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, "Look, Esau my brother is hairy, and I am a smooth-skinned man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to be a deceiver to him, and I shall bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing." But his mother said to him, "Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go and get them for me." And he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory food such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the choice clothes of her elder son Esau, which were in her house, and put them on Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of goats on his hands and on the smooth parts of his neck. Then then she gave savory food and bread, which she had prepared, in the hands of her son Jacob. So he went to his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here I am. Who are you, my son?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I've done just as you told me. Please arise, sit, and eat of my game, that your soul may be blessed." But said to his son, "How is it that you have found it so quickly, my son?" And he said, "Because the Lord your God brought it to me." Wow, it's even like disrespectful to God right there as much. There's so much like treachery going on right here. It's amazing. He's even used the Lord as a crutch to be able to make it reasonable, because Isaac's such a believer that this feast and everything was able to happen so fast. That's just crazy. Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come near, that I may feel you, my son." whether you're really my son Esau or not. And that's what I thought too. The first time when I read this yesterday, I was just like, how would he not know the voice? I mean, like, come on. And so that's where he came in, and we'll go from there. But I just thought that was really funny. Originally, I'd asked that before we got to this part. So Jacob went near Isaac his father, and he felt him and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are hands of Esau. And he did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. Now, not to giggle when he blessed, but dude, how hairy was this guy? The goat hair. I don't know. Have you guys ever played with a goat or petted? Their hair is pretty hairy, man. It's like layered, like like maybe not as coarse as a dog, but maybe a short-haired dog. For his hands to be that hairy, I just find that comical. I'm sorry, but I think that's funny that they literally put goat skin around his neck and on his hand, so if his dad felt them, he'd know that. Uh, it's funny. He said. Uh, so he said he did not recognize him because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands, so he blessed him. Then he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he said, "I am." He said, bring it near me, and I will eat of my son's game, so that my soul may bless you." So he brought it near him, and he ate it, and brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come near now and kiss me, my son." And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled of his clothes. See, even then, that's pretty smart, too. He's like, and blessed him, and he said, "Surely the smell of my son is like the smell of the field which the Lord has blessed. Therefore, may God give you of the dew of heaven, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's son bow down to you. Cursed be anyone who curses you, and blessed be anyone who blesses you." Now it happened as soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and Jacob had scarcely gone out of the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. He also had made savory fruit and brought it to his father, and said to his father, "May my father arise and eat of his son's game, that your soul may be blessed." As And his father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" So he said, "I am your son, your firstborn Esau." Then Isaac trembled exceedingly and said, "Who? Where is it? Where is the one who hunted game and brought it to me? I ate all of it before you came, and I blessed him, and indeed he shall be blessed." I think that's interesting that they can't like take back the blessing since it was done in such like falsehood. You know what I mean? Like it's complete treachery and deceiving. And he's like, "Yeah, gave away the blessing." Does he got just a limited amount or something? I mean, I'm not trying to be serious. I'm not trying to make fun. I'm very serious. I find that interesting. That he's like, "Yeah, I don't know." So let's go on. Let's see. Take away your blessing. But he said, "Your brother came in deceit and has taken away your blessing." And Esau said, Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these two times. He took away my birthright, which I don't know if you guys remember. This is one thing I sort of had interest with because they came in maybe the way that the scripture is reading it. He said he was felt like he was dying, but I don't think he was actually dying of like starvation the day, but because like he was really hungry, and Esau cooked him food, and he gave his birthright up for it. So, maybe that's looking at instant gratification is something we should look at as like something that's bad because it's mentioned several times throughout in the Bible. But anyway, let's see. And he said, "He took away my birthright now. Look, he has taken away my blessing." And he said, "You have not received a blessing from me." Then Isaac answered and said to Esau, "Indeed, I have made him your master, and all his brethren I have given him servants. I have given to him as servants with my grain and wine. I have sustained him. What shall I do now for you, my son?" And Esau said to his father, "Have you only one blessing, my father? Bless me also, oh my father." And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered him and said to him, "Behold, your dwelling shall be of the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven above. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother, and it shall come to pass when you become restless that you will break his yoke from your neck. So he's basically, hey, you'll have to do this. I said it until you grow restless, and then you can leave, I guess is what he's saying. So Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father blessed him, and Esau saw in his heart that the days of mourning for my father are not at hand. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. Which um I always thought that was he's just like, dude, I'm gonna kill this guy. I mean, it's sort of reminiscent of today if you think about it, as much as people just like have no value for life either. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jacob has been a treacherous person. And Rebecca is no better, leading the cause to some degree. She was the one who initiated everything, even though Esau was the one who perpetrated it all. Very interesting. These stories, they go on back in the day here. Let's see. Surely kill. Yeah, there. All right. And the words of Esau, her son, were told to Rebekah. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, surely your brother Esau comforts himself concerning you by intending to kill you. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice, arise, flee to my brother in Laden in Haran, and stay with him a few days until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger turns away from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you from there. You should be bereaved also of you both in one day. Why should I be bereaved of also of you both in one day? And Rebekah said to Isaac, I am weary of my life because of the daughters of Heth. If Jacob takes a wife of the daughters of Heth, like those who are the daughters of the land, what good will my life be? My life, my life be to me? Yeah. All right, go to next one. 28, pretty cool. So let me know if you'd like this new setup here. I was, just reading my Bible before, um, and which I love my Bible. I think it's amazing. But I just thought maybe for screen interaction and stuff like that, this might be better for you. So then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said to him, you shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to I should look all these up, but I'll look it later. Arise, go to Paddan Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take yourself a wife from there of the daughters of Ladan, your mother's brother. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful, multiply you, that you may be an assemblies of peoples. So he's saying God's going to let you have a lot of kids and give you a blessing of Abraham to you, you and your descendants with you, that you may inherit the land in which you are a stranger, which God gave to Abraham. So Isaac sent Jacob away, and he sent to Paddan Aram to Labden, sorry, Labden, the son of Bethuel, the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Paddan Aram to take himself a wife from there, and that he blessed him. And that he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, "You shall not take a wife from the daughters of Canaan." And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and had gone to Paddan Aram. So Esau saw the daughters of Canaan did not please his father Isaac. So Esau went to Ishmael and took. Let's see how to say this. Let me say this. Oh, never mind. I won't do it. It's a couple seconds long. I won't do it. Ma, Mahal Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, and the sister of Nebajoth, to his wife, in addition to the wives he had. Now Jacob went out from Beersheba, and went towards Haran. So, so he came to the certain place and stayed there all night because the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and put it at his head, and he lay down in that place to sleep. Then he dreamt, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached to heaven, and there the angels of God were ascending and descended on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give you and your descendants. Also, your descendants shall be part of the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and the east, to the north and the south. And you and in your seed, all families of the earth shall be blessed. Behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land, for I will never leave you until I've done what I've spoken. Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Then Jacob arose early in the morning and took the stone that he had laid at his head, set it up as a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. He had called the name of the place Bethel, and but the name of that city had been Luz previously. Sorry. Then Jacob made a vow and said, If God will be with me and keep me this way that I'm going, and give me bread to eat and clothes to put on, so that I come back to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. And this stone which I have set as a pillar shall be God's house, and of all that you give me, I shall surely give a tenth to you. So is this where the beginning of tithing comes in right here, where they're talking about a tenth to you? I think it's interesting too that he names up. He's like, if you do all this for me, you get to be my God to some degree. He's like, it just feels that way a little bit. I know he's probably not meaning to say that. It's maybe that's the vow part of it, but and then, so we'll go to 29, and that'll be it for today. Thanks everybody for watching. If you have any comments or you want to talk about stuff later on, if anyone's ever here, I haven't had anyone in the chat yet that's ever said anything except for my buddy Andrew said what's up once. But anyway, I would really love to speak with you guys. Let me double check chat here. We'll make sure that there's not anything going on here. Boom. Actually, let me double check it this way. Boom and boom. Oh, it's not in StreamYard. Yeah, well, there doesn't seem to be anybody in chat. I have a little chat window over here. Um, but yeah, anyway. So I appreciate people that watch, listen, and everything else. Yeah, I'm basically really, to be honest with you, more doing this for myself than anyone else because I wanted to read the Bible anyway. I wanted to devote time to do it every day, so I figured if I did it at 8, this would be a great way to always start my day. Um, Starting out with the Lord. So, thank you, anyone that does watch. I appreciate you for being with me this far. I know I'll get better as I read more often. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So Genesis 29. So Jacob, let me drink of water. Sorry. So Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of people of the east, and he looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flock. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. And Jacob said to them, my brethren, where are you from? And they said, We are from Haran. Then he said to them, Do you know Lad Labden? I just feel like that's not right. I'll have to look that up later. Labden, son of Nahor, and they said, "We know him." Like, yeah, we know that guy. So he said to them, "Is he well?" And they said, "He is well." And he took his daughter Rachel is coming, and he looked his daughter, and look, his daughter Rachel is coming with a sheep. Okay, okay. Then they said, Look, it is still high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them. But they said, We cannot until the flocks are gathered together, and they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth, then we water the sheep. Now while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And it came to pass that Jacob saw Rachel the daughter of Laban his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban his mother's brother. It's a lot of mother's brothers. Then Jacob kissed, wow. he just went and Jacob just kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebecca's son. So she ran and told her father. Dude, he just rolls up. He's like, we ain't got time for all this sheeping, and just rolls the stone out so they can get out of the way. And then she walks up and he just lays one on her. Wow. And then she runs to the house. Then it came to pass when Ladin, Labden heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So was it that type of kiss that he kissed? That must have been that type of kiss. I was thinking like kiss, kiss, kiss. Must have been like the on the cheek type kiss that they give, or maybe it was one. I mean, maybe back then, when you were really happy to see when they did kiss on the lips like that. Um, because here we're talking about he kissed him and brought him to his house. So I think it's more that greeting kiss that they do in the Middle East. Where they kiss on each cheek versus planting one on them. But so he told Labden of all things, and Labden said to him, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh." And he stayed with him for a month. And then Labden said to Jacob, "Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be?" Now Labden had two daughters, and the name of the elder was Leah. What was it, Leah? Leah? And the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. So that's sort of nice. He's like, yeah, Leah's not. She's got nice eyes. She's got nice eyes. But Rachel, yeah, that's the one. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, "I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter." Wow, that's pretty wild that he's just like, I mean, basically buying her with time, but that's really interesting. And Labden said, "It is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me. It is better that I give her to you than that I give her to another man. Stay with me." Okay. Oh, so Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. That's sort of cool. That's a really nice thing to say. Then Jacob said to Labden, I don't know why I'm having trouble with that being either. Labden, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in to her. That I may go into her. And Ladin gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. Now it came to pass in the evening that they took Leah his daughter and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. I'm gonna have to read some what they're trying to say there. That seems very sexual. And Labda gave his maid Zilpha to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that behold, it was Leah, and he said to Labdan, "What is it that you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why have you deceived me?" And Labdan said, "Oh, what do you mean? How do you not know? I didn't catch that either right now. It was supposed to be Rebecca. What was she in full garb? I just what the that's what right. But how did he not this is crazy. What have you done to me? This was Rachel that I served you. Why have you deceived me? And Laban said, "It must not be done in our country, and give the younger before the firstborn. Hmm. Fulfill her week, and we will give you this one also for the service which you have served for 7 years. Fulfill her week and give, and we, wow. What does it mean? I mean, fulfill her week. We'll give you this one. So then Jacob did so fulfill her week. So he gave him his daughter Rachel also. Wow. So he got like a 2 for 1. And Laban gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. And then Jacob also went to Rachel, and he also loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served with Laban another 7 years. Okay. Then the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, and her womb and her opened her womb, and then Rachel was barren. Oh, that sucks. So Rachel conceived and bore a son. Well, I mean, it sucks for Rachel. So Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben. And for he said, "The Lord has surely looked upon my affliction. Now, therefore, my husband will love me." Wow, it's amazing how important sons are back then. Like, I mean, even here, she's like, he doesn't love me at all, but now I just had his kid. I'm gonna have his kid, so now it's gonna be great. Then she conceived again and bore a son, and said, "Because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, and He has therefore given me this son also." And she called his name Simon. She conceived again and bore a son, and said, "Now this time my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name shall be was called Levi." And she conceived again and bore wow, she's just going again. She conceived again and bore a son, and said, "Now I will praise the Lord." Therefore she called his name Judah, and then she stopped bearing. Is that the Judah? That's not the Judah, is it? Interesting. Are we supposed to do 28? What did I put in there? I feel like 30 is too much. We're supposed to do 27, 20, 28, and 29, I believe. Just double check my little doc here. See, I might have to make this go up to an hour. I might have to, because, yeah, we're supposed to stop at 29. And I just like reading it. I just really thoroughly enjoy reading this. So we're going to go and we're going to add another 3 chapters on here. Go 30, 31, 32. So anyone want to stick around, I appreciate it. If not, then I love you. Have an amazing day. But I'm gonna keep reading. I enjoy this. So we're gonna go 30, 31, and 32. I think I'm gonna do a double dose every day. Do 5 chapters a day. Like tomorrow, I'll do 33 through 38. Like I just love doing this. So yeah, and I need to understand and know the word better. Unfortunately, this isn't good for memorization. I'm doing more passage study and memorizing and putting out like actual flows of different stuff like that. But it just all needs to be read through once. I think far too many people, in my personal opinion, completely avoid the Old Testament, because so much, if you look at the New Testament, so much of it is not counted anymore. They had different ways they looked at law, and a lot of the old, like, uh, traditional laws, like not wearing mixed fibers and stuff like that, don't hold account anymore. So a lot of people in some of the old ways, because Jesus has said he is the new way. So everybody sort of just forgot about the Old Testament, and I just think it needs to be read and understood a couple times, even though that it's mainly stories and things like that you have to take value from. I feel like that it's not really, um, there's not a lot of teaching in it that I found. It's just a culmination so far of like stories of the art, other than the obvious stuff, but even then there's so much immorality and stuff in here. At times it feels like a soap opera almost, you know what I mean? You got Rebecca having her son stealing blessings. You've got Isaac getting drunk and sleeping with his 2 daughters. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. But anyway, thanks anyone that's watching. Again, I appreciate you. Let me make sure everything looks good. We're still there. Perfect. And with that, nothing in the chat. We'll jump into it. Genesis 30. Oh, let me grab some more water. Now, when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said to Jacob, "Give me children or else I die." And Jacob's anger was aroused when Rachel against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in the place of God? And who withheld for you? Who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?" The fruit of the womb, huh? So she said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Go into her, and she will bear a child on my knees, that I may also have children by her." It's so weird that they would do that. That's like happened a couple times now, that they're just using their maids as like surrogates to some degree. Then she gave him Bilhah, her maid, as a wife, and Jacob went into her. See, but yeah, see here we went in two again. So, huh. And Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. And then Rachel said, God has judged my case, and he has also heard my voice and given me a son. Therefore, she called his name Dan. Therefore, she called his name Dan. Hmm, very plain name. And Rachel's maid Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. And then Rachel said, with great wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and indeed I have prevailed. So she, so she shall call his name Nephalti, Neph- Nepht- Nephtali, Nephtali, I bet. Nephtali. Then she thinks she's better than her sister because her maid's popping out kids. It's funny. Then Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, so she took Zephah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Wow, they're just like, dude, Jacob's just gonna this is just wild. I mean, I understand how important lineage is and things like that, but this is just wild. And Leah's maid bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "A troop comes," so she called his name Gad. And then Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said to him, "I'm happy, for the daughters will call me blessed," so that she called his name Asher. I think it's crazy no one has had a daughter yet, or if like they have not talked about it. So I just like I haven't have like they haven't mentioned it. No one that they've done like this, they mentioned that I remember someone saying, "Oh, and here's a daughter." It's always been boys. Interesting, but they're happening, so they just sort of leave that out. Now Reuben went in the days of wheat fest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rebekah said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "Is it a small matter to you that you have taken away my husband? Would you also take away my son's mandrakes?" Oh wow, they're about to get into it. Rebecca and Rachel said, "Therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrake." Hmm. When Jacob came in the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must come in to me, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrakes." And he laid with her that night. Hmm. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. And wow, so she thought she was done, and nope, got another one there. And Leah said, "God has given me my wages because I've given my maid to my husband." So she called his name Issachar. I don't think that's right. But then Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. And Leah said, "God has endowed me with good endowment. Now my husband will dwell with me because I have borne him six sons." So she called his name Zebulun. 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 After she bore a daughter. Oh, there we got one. We got one. Afterwards, she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah. And then God remembered Rachel and listened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son, and said, "God has taken away my reproach." So she called his name Joseph, which said, "The Lord shall add me another son." And it came to pass, when Rachel had bore Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away, that I may go on my own place to my country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you know my service which I've done for you." And Ladan said to him, "Please stay if I found favor in your eyes, for you have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake." Then he said, "Name me your wages, and I will give it." So Jacob said to him, "You know how I have served you, and how your livestock has been with me." So, like, he must be a real good farmer. "For what you have had before I came was little, and it was increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming, and now now when shall I also provide for my own house?" So he said, "What shall I give you?" And Jacob said, "You shall not give me anything if you will do me this thing for me, and I will again feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all the flocks today, remove from there all the speckled and spotted sheep, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and these shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me in time to come, when the subject of my wages comes before you. Every one that is not speckled and not spotted among the goats, and brown among the lambs will be considered stolen if it is with me. In Latin, Labdin, I don't know why I have so much trouble with that. And Labdin said, "Oh, that is where that oh that it were according to your word." So remove that day the male goats who were speckled and spotted, all the female goats who were speckled and spotted, every one that had white in it, and all brown ones among the lambs, and gave them to the hands of his sons. Then he put these 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's stock. Now Jacob took for himself rods of gold popular and of the almonds and chestnut trees, peeled away right strips of them, and exposed the whites which in the rods, and exposed the whites which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters and in the water troughs where the flocks came to drink, so they could conceive when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs, and they made the flocks face towards the streak, and all the brown ones in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by themselves, and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, wherever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they may conceive among the rods. I'm not sure what's going on there. But when the livestock were feeble and did not put them in, he did not put them in, so the feebler ones were Laban and the stronger were Jacob's. So I think he's put in the water to make the animals come in and then separating them. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous and had a large flock, female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. All right, Genesis 31. Now Jacob heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was ours, father, and what was ours, our from what was our father's, he has acquired all his wealth. And Jacob saw the countenance of Laban, and indeed was not favorable towards him as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and your family, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field, to his flock, and said to them, I see your father's countenance, that it's not favorable toward me as before, but the God of my father has been with me, and you know that with all my might I have set to serve your father. Yet your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God did not allow him to hurt me. If he said thus, the speckled shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore speckled. And if he said thus, the streaked ones shall be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked. So God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. And it happened at the time when the flocks conceived that I lifted my eyes up and saw a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the flocks were streaked, speckled, and gray spotted. Then the angel of God spoke to him in a dream, saying, Jacob, uh, and I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up your eyes now and see all the rams which leap on the flocks are streaked, speckled, and gray spotted, for I have seen all Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed the pillar and where you made a vow to me. Arise, get out of this land, and return to the land of your family. Then Rachel and Leah answered him and said, Is there still any portion or inheritance for us in your father's house? Are we not considered strangers by him? For he has sons and also completely consumed our money. Wow. So she just like they took all it, they got nothing if that. If so they're worried he's gonna leave them behind. Interesting, because of the dispute I would say between her father. For all these riches which God has taken from your father are really ours and our children's. Now wear whatever God has said to you, do it. Then Jacob rose and set his sons and his wives on camels, and he carried away all the livestock and all the possessions which he gained, his acquired livestock which he gained in Paddan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's. What do it mean by household idols? Like crosses and stuff? I mean, like what idols are they referring to? And Jacob stole away unknown to Laban the Syrian, in that he did not tell him that he intended to flee. So he was just like, I'm out. I'm not going to say anything. I'm leaving. So he fled with all that he had. He arose, crossed the river, and headed towards the mountain of Gilead. Gil, Gilead. Gilead. And Laban was told on the third day that Jacob had fled. Then he had then he took his brethren with him and pursued him for 7 days' journey and overtook him in the mountains of Gilead. But God had come to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said to him, Be careful what you speak to Jacob, neither good nor bad. So Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountains, and Laban with his brethren pitched a tent in the mountains of Gilead. Or yeah, Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, What have you done that you have stolen away unknown to me, and carried away my daughters like captives taken with a sword? Why did you flee secretly and steal away from me and not tell me? For I might have sent you away with joy and songs, with treble and harp. And you did not allow me to kiss my sons and daughters. Now you've done foolish. Now you've done foolish in doing so. It it is in my power to do you harm, but the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, Be careful what I speak to Jacob, neither good or bad. And now you've surely gone against you greatly long, and now you have surely gone because you greatly long for your father's house. But why did you steal my goods? Then Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid, for I said, Perhaps you would take your daughters from me by force. With whomever you find your God, with whoever you find your gods, do not let him live in the presence of our brethren. And identify what I have of yours and take it with you. For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen him. So they are like false idols of the other gods. They were, it sounds like. Yeah, because they were saying, Whoever you find your gods. Interesting. And Laban went to Jacob's tent and and into Leah's tent and into two maids' tent, but he did not find them. Then he went into Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household idols, put them in the camel's saddle, and sat on them. And Laban searched all about in the tent, but he did not find them. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise before you, for the manner of woman is with me. And he searched out, but did not find the household idols. Then Jacob was angry and rebuked Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, What is my trespass? What is my sin, that you have hotly pursued me? So now he's getting mad because he was like, Hey, you stole my idols. I want them back. And now, even though she was sitting on them, basically, he looked everywhere. And now he's mad. He's like, Hey, why'd you accuse me of this? And now there's no proof. Although you have searched all my things, what part of your household things have you found? Set it here before my brethren, uh, and your brethren, that you may judge between us both. So again, he was like, dude, you didn't find anything. What do you got? Lay it out and show everybody what's what. That's interesting. Uh, Scroll just a little. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried their young. See, they are hurt. They're farmers. Okay, so then that's what it is that he just takes care of all the sheep, and that's how they gain and amass wealth so much, is because he's just multiplying their sheep and livestock and their rams and everything else, their cattle. And that's where the prosperity has come from over in the past books before, which I find really interesting because I always wonder, it's not always in shekels, silver, or gold. It's livestock and stuff was very much back then, massman wealth, and they had servants and slaves and stuff too. Let's see here. That which was torn by beast, I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it and you required it from my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. There I was in the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, my sleep departed my eyes. Thus I have been in your house 20 years. I have served you 14 years for your two daughters, and 6 years for your flock, and you have charged my wages 10 times. Unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac has been with me, surely now you have sent me away empty-handed. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands, and rebuked you last night. And Laban answered and said to Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and this flock is my flock. All that you have seen is mine, but what can I do this day to these daughters or to their children whom I serve? Now therefore come and let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be witness between you and I. So Jacob took a stone and set up a pillar. Then Jacob said to the heaven, his brethren, gather stones. And they took the stones and made a heap, and they ate there on the heap. Okay. Laban called it Jaeger Shalduth, but Jacob called it Galeed. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me. This is me this day. Therefore, a name is called Galeed. Also, Mizpah said, because you said, my Lord, may the Lord watch between you and me when we are absent from one another. If you're afflicted, my daughters, or if you take other wives beside my daughters, although no man is with us, see, God is witness between you and me. And Laban said to Jacob, here is this heap, and here is this pillar which I have placed between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness that I will not pass beyond this heap to you, and you will not pass beyond this heap and pillar to me for harm. So, okay, so they're making this now like a boundary between their lands, it sounds like. And then God of Abraham and God of Nahor and God of their fathers judgment between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. And then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and called his brethren to eat bread. They ate bread and stayed all night on the mountain. And early in the morning, Laban arose, kissed his sons and daughters, and blessed them. Yeah, it must be that like cheek kiss is what I imagine. And then Laban departed and returned to this place. All right, Genesis 32. Um, Sweet. And this we'll call it after this one. This is great. I appreciate anyone who's sticking with it. I know sometimes when I get a little bogged down in my reading, I'll try and make it more fluid. So Jacob went on this way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp," and he called the name of that place behind him. Not sure. Mahaim, Manheim, maybe Manheim. I don't know. Then Jacob sent messages before him to Esau his brother in the land of Seir in the country of Edom, and he commanded them and said, "Speak thus to my lord Esau. Thus your servant Jacob says, I have dwelt with Laban and stayed there until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, male and female servants, and I have sent to the Lord that I might find favor in your sight." So now he's coming back after all these years, after he'd stole his birthright, according to Esau, after he'd stolen his blessing, and then look at the blessings turn into to some degree, if you think about it. If you look back upon it when he is blessed, look at all the favor he's seen, not only by God, but through everything else too, which could be a direct representative or a the blessing that he received so far along. I mean, you think that was 21 years ago now. Interesting. Let's see. Then the messenger returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau, and he also is coming to meet you, and 400 men with him." So Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. I would be too, man. He said he was going to kill you next time he's up, and he's rolling up with 400 guys. So Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that were with him, and the flocks and herds and camels into two companies. And he said, "If Esau comes to the one company and attacks it, then the other company which is left will escape." So that's cool. At least he's sort of being smart about it. He's like, "All right, I'm going to separate all my stuff. If we attacked, A, call them, sorry, you guys, or if you give up for the cause, B, call them, you're out of here, vice versa." Yeah, yeah. Which is smart, but sort of funny in a way too, if you think about it. And then he said, "If Esau comes, this company will escape." And then Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord has said to me, return to your country and to your family, and I will deal well with you. I am not worthy of the least of all mercies, of all the truth which you have shown your servant, for I have crossed over this Jordan with my staff, and now I became two companies. Deliver me, I pray, for the hand of my brother from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and attack me and the mother of my children. For you said, I will surely treat you well and make your descendants as the sea of the sand, which cannot be numbered for multitude. So he lodged there that night and took what came to his hand as a present for Esau's brother. 200 male goats and 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams. Interesting. 200 female, 20 male, and then you got ewes, female, male. 30 milk camels and their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 foals. Then he delivered them to the hands of his servants, every drove by itself, and said to his servants, Pass over before me and put some distance between each successive drove. So now he's sending them out, he's separated, sending them out, he's putting distance between them. And he commanded the first one, saying, When Esau my brother meets you and asks you, saying, Whom do you belong, and where are you going? Who are these in front of you? Then you shall say, These are the servant Jacob's. It is a present sent to my lord Esau, and behold, he is also behind us. So he's trying to bribe him now. So he commanded the second, third, the second, the third, and all who follow the droves. In this matter shall speak to Esau when you find him. And so he's split up his livestock and he's sending them like out to him and the 400 guys and being like, hey, look, peace. Here's all. So he's sort of in a way returning the blessing that was taken to him from the land. Um, Even though over this time we don't know what has happened to Esau. Interesting. Let's see here. The matter shall speak when you shall find him, and also say, Behold, your servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appease him with the present that he goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept me. So yeah, he's basically trying to give him a little bribe, and make him say, Hey, look, please take all this. I just want to come back to my land. This is what God is commanding me to do. So the president went over before him, but he himself lodged that night in the camp. And he rose that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 female servants and his 11 sons and crossed over the ford of Jabok. Jabbok. Jabbok. He took them, sent them over to the brook, and then sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now, when he saw him, he did not prevail against him. He touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jake's hip went out of joint as he wrestled with him. So some guy is like attacking him, and he's like dislocated his hip joint. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaks. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. So he said to him, What is your name? And he said, Jacob. And 2 feet. Too much. And he said, Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with man and have prevailed. Then Jacob asked, saying, Tell me your name, I pray. And he said, Why is it you ask about my name? And he blessed him there. And Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God's face to face, and my life is preserved. Just as he crossed over Peniel, he rose on him, and he limped on his hip. Therefore, to this day, the children of Israel do not eat the muscle of the shank which was on the hip joint, because it touched the socket of Jake's hip in the muscle shank. So that interesting. All right. Well, all right. So that's going to be it for today. I appreciate everybody joining us. Let me know what you think about the new OBS setup here. And this is going to end the stream for it. So again, thanks so much.